Welcome to Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Joyous conversations about what the afterlife evidence and modern science combine to tell us is true about our one reality. You have nothing to fear. You are eternal and you are perfectly loved. Knowing the truth changes everything. Now, here's Roberta.
Welcome to Seek Reality. I'm Roberta Grimes and I'm so happy you're with us today. One of my very dearest friends in doing this wonderful, essential work in afterlife research and education is our great guest today. There actually are very few of us who have given this work all the time and effort that it really requires in order for us to become very knowledgeable and really expert in understanding what happens after we make our transition. And it's even more difficult to find kindred spirits who have put in all the time and done all the necessary work in the field of afterlife research and who also work and teach in the field of genuine spirituality. But Sandra Champlain does all of that, and unlike me, she does it on her own. She doesn't have anybody helping her, really. And as you know, I have very big help, both materially and non-materially. My partner on this side of the veil is Craig Hogan, and I don't know how I could have managed to do half of what I've done without him. And of course, my non-material partner is my spirit guide, Thomas. Thomas, he is my pilot and my great friend, and without his constant guidance and kind of keeping me going in the right direction all the time, I could not do this at all. But Sandra is what I never have pretended to be. She really is the captain of her own ship. I'm sure she's getting some spiritual guidance, but, you know, we all have guidance, and she's much less tentative about it all. Instead, Sandra is just a happy, happy warrior for truth and love in the world, and she spreads joy wherever she goes. Sandra Champlain is with us today for the 17th time in our almost 11 years of doing Seek Reality. She's someone whose beautiful work in the afterlife education field is really beyond compare. For years now, Sandra has done her weekly Sunday gatherings with an international team of mediums, and she's helped the phenomenal Brazilian physical medium Sonia Rinaldi's work immeasurably with her successful movie, for one thing, entitled Rinaldi, which now is featured on Amazon. It's doing great. So, oh, my darling Sandra, I simply don't know how you do all that you do. Welcome, my dear friend. I'm thrilled to have you back here today.
Roberta, thank you so much. I'm thrilled too. And how can it be 17 times? Have we known each other that long? I don't know.
Yeah.
For eternity, I think. And we've got lots more fun to be had. So I'm grateful to be here. Thank you for asking me.
Oh, I'm so happy that you're here today. And, when we talked about having her come on, and finally we made the time right. And she said we were going to have a special treat to talk about because Sandra and her beautiful and much beloved mother, Marion, have just been featured in a brand new New York Times best-selling book. This book is called, I have it right here, it's called Love Mom, Inspired Stories Celebrating Motherhood by Nicole Safier, MD. It's just out, already a New York Times bestseller, right out of the gate. And Sandra Champlain and her mother are two of its stars. So plug in your book, Sandra.
Thanks, Roberta. We human beings never know what's possible if we take a risk. And if I can just tell you and your audience, it was a year ago, Mother's Day, 2023, when Mom and I were watching TV and something popped up on the screen. If you have a story of an extraordinary mom, we'd love to know. And there was one of those QR codes and it just flashed up there for a few seconds. Now, Mom was by my side and I thought, oh, she's so extraordinary, but how in the world can I find that QR code? Luckily, somebody recorded the show and posted it on YouTube. And I found it, I slowed it down, I took that picture of that QR code, and I wrote just a story of my mom. She came to the United States from Germany at the age of 4. Her Mom passed away in a car accident, hit by a drunken driver. She had been in the military in the U.S. Air Force. She got married to my dad, had 4 kids, went on to create several businesses. Of course, the biggest being an icon in the race car industry, with the two of us serving meals to sometimes over 1,000 people. And to me, she's great, always encouraging. And I thought that story needed to be told. So I got that QR code, sent it in, had no idea what was going to happen, if anything, or even what it was for. And it was July of 2023 that I got an email requesting a conversation on Zoom. I didn't know who I was talking to. I didn't know Nicole, really who she was. And she says, well, this could be part of a book. Could be, right? So no, nothing definite. And as time went on, there were a few more questions asked and a little clarification here or there. And still no confirmation. Could I send in a picture? Okay. So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking this is possibly going to be something someday. And so I was living with this secret, and it was the day before Valentine's Day that I got an email from Dr. Nicole, who said, your mom's chapter is chapter 10 out of 15. Extraordinary Mom Stories. We're going to debut it on television tomorrow. And in a second, I started to shake and I said, Mom, I've got something to tell you. And it's really good. And then I told her, and she just couldn't believe it. And it took a little while. It took a couple of months before the book came out. It just did. But you're absolutely right. It's the third week. It's now towards the top of the New York Times bestseller list. It's so inspiring, packed with inspirational stories, and can empower anybody, male or female, mom or not. And I'm so proud. My mom, it just keeps pinching herself that she's included. And she says, do I belong in this book? I'm like, yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yeah. It's a story of just being unstoppable no matter what life hands you. So that is the big celebration going on here. And yeah, it's given her life back. She's retired, as you know, from our racing business. And I think as human beings, we all need purpose. We all need to feel useful. And now she is just steaming with inspiration and putting down her thoughts. And she's so delighted. So it's made me, it always makes us happy to make a difference for someone else. So a word to anyone who is listening or watching right now. If you set your eyes on being of service to another person, you just cannot go wrong. And there could be some unexpected miracles just around the corner.
What I think is adorable, a few things are adorable. You look just like your mother, which I think is so cute. But the thing is, people need to know about you, that you live with your mother, and she doesn't need caring for per se, but you subtly sort of care for your mother. Make sure she's okay. Sometimes when I'm going to be in Massachusetts and I say, hey, let's get together for lunch. Mom's not feeling well. Maybe we can't do it today. Yeah. You make sure she's okay. I think that's a wonderful thing about you, that you make sure she's cared for. Yeah. A lot of people maybe would say, sure, she'll be all right, which it'd be fine if you did that, but you don't do that. You make sure she's all right. And I give you so much credit for that. I give you a world of credit for that.
Thank you. We need it. People need people. And once we stopped working our racing business, where we saw hundreds and hundreds of people every day and got so much love, to go to just her and I.
Are you going to name drop a little bit?
Yeah, well, could name drop. But the thing is I think she's as good for me as I am for her. And we had a health scare a couple of months ago, and she's under new medications and things, and getting older. And I think this lovely lady took care of me and all my needs for many, many years. She still does emotionally. She's a good listener and got a good sense of humor. And people need people. And I know for myself, even though we're all getting older, we still feel like us. We never feel like the age that's on a birthday card.
That's the great secret that people need to know.
Absolutely.
I remember when my mother-in-law, who lived with us for the last 15, 20 years of her life, she said to me one day, I'm going to tell you something you won't believe. I don't feel any older than you are. This woman was 90 years old.
Right.
I said, oh, I'm going to have to remember that. Thank you, Mom, for telling me that.
It's
And
true.
I have to tell you now that I'm in my 70s, after I had that bit of heart surgery I had last year, which my heart was not doing so well, and suddenly now I'm in my early 40s. I swear, you really don't feel any older than that.
Yeah.
What an ironic little secret that they
It
don't tell
is.
you when you're younger.
But the compassion I feel walking around, being in the grocery store, wherever it may be, and you see somebody a
Older
little bit
people, yes,
older.
they don't feel
No,
any
they're,
older than
they
you
might be using
do.
a walker or a cane or more gray hairs than they wish, or maybe even a few chin hairs I've found. But but they're just still them. And so it's just to have that level of compassion. And there's so much wisdom when you engage someone in conversation and you get people talking about their memories and what they love about their life. And yeah,
Oh my
some of our
goodness,
seniors
it's
are an untapped
so
wealth of
true.
resources and
Yes.
fun and love and all of that.
But
So
they
I'm
really don't
happy.
feel a day older. And that's why it's so interesting and fun because, I mean, I remember the 60s like it was yesterday. And I could tell you what it was like to live in it. And I even blog about it sometimes. It really, truly does feel like it was just yesterday. And that was a much better time to be alive. I got to tell you, I feel, those were the good times. I feel so sorry for the people who missed out on that. And they're trying to recreate it now. They're trying to have these little riots and stuff. Oh, they don't know what it was like. Really, it was really fun back then. Now it's just awful, honestly.
Absolutely. It is. So, but there's some good people out
But your
there.
mom
There's some
looks
good
good.
families.
No,
Yeah,
she really does.
yeah,
She
she's
looks
doing
good
well.
now.
She's doing well. We're both eating healthy, exercising, getting enough sleep, doing all the things we should be doing that maybe we didn't before. But sometimes you need a little health scare to put you right in the right direction. So
Yes,
we're
then
doing
that
well.
that does shape you up, doesn't it, quite a bit? Yes.
Yes, yes.
So tell me how's it going with your Sunday gathering and all of that? Because it looks like it's going great.
I can't believe the difference that these things that I'm participating in are making a difference. We started the Sunday gathering just over 4 years ago. Now we're into our fifth year. Every Sunday at 2 p.m. New York time on Zoom, we have a 90-minute service. We'll call it a service. It's non-denominational. It's spiritual. There's music. There's an opening and closing prayer. Yes, there's an address. There's a reading. But it's done like no other service I've ever been to. It's fun, it's spiritual, and there's a medium demonstration included in each and every one. So 4 or 5 loved ones come through from the afterlife, giving evidence that they're still around, really wonderful messages. And what I tell people, as I say, there's usually 4 or 5 of us that are from the human world that are participating as the moderators and speakers. And then we've got our friends who are doing the same thing from the spirit world. So I tell people the information that comes through, even if it's not your loved one, pretend it is, because you hear these messages and you hear just how close people are and things. And I say your loved ones are just as close. And some of the information that comes through is so beautiful, and messages of love and encouragement, and them witnessing what we're doing in our life, and whether it's to have patience or go after our dreams, whatever that is. It's more specific than that depending on the person, but it leaves everybody, including myself, with a big smile on my face, remembering that I'm a soul having a human experience, that my life matters, that everything that's coming in is education for the soul. And even if we're going through really, really awful times, sometimes it just takes a year in the future and you look back and you say, gosh, that had to happen the way it did for me to be here. And
Yeah.
just 3 days ago, it was the anniversary of my dad's passing 14 years ago. And that was the worst time of my life, darkest time, depressed, lost relationships with siblings, fights galore. And of course, my dear dad passed, who I was so close to. And out of the deepest, darkest time, I went on to continue my look for evidence of the afterlife, find out why grief hurts so bad and why good people
It
do
led
crazy
to some of the
things.
best times of your
To the
life.
best times. And yes, what now on We Don't Die Radio, I have well over 440 episodes, and I'm approaching, I think, 190 on Shades of the Afterlife on the iHeart Radio and Coast to Coast AM Paranormal Podcast Network. And I've been asked to do some great things. And I have a big YouTube channel with 25,000 subscribers. And you just never know the difference one can make. So we all have a unique story to tell. We don't have to try to be somebody else. There's always somebody who we can impact with our story, or just to be a listener. So never discount yourself and who you are. But it helps. It's helping a lot of people, and I think myself as well, because it just fuels me to keep on keeping on.
It's a gift to be able to do this work. I thought, thank God, every day. Thank you for allowing me to do this work. To be called to do it is the greatest privilege.
It is.
It's so true. No, it's so beautiful. But so it's really growing. You're really making such a difference. What a beautiful thing.
And in the book, this Love Mom book, I was surprised and delighted. They put the title of my book, We Don't Die, A Skeptic's Discovery of Life After Death, within those pages. And so I think, and I'm sure you've had this happen, these synchronicities. One, for example, was there was a fellow whose child had passed, and he picked up his iPhone and he just asked Siri to play some news. Well, Siri chose to play an episode of one of my podcasts. Wow. So he went on to listen to many, and it really helped him transform his relationship to what he thought about the afterlife. And then another lady, she bought herself a smart TV, and she had left the house and came back on. The TV was not only on, but it was playing on YouTube one of my Sunday gatherings. So it's my thought that perhaps somebody will read the book Love Mom, and all of a sudden that title might just strike a chord. And then they may be able to either get my book or research me or find the podcast. And you never know. And even 2 days ago, I got an email from a woman who wanted to interview me for one of the biggest radio shows in Boston. And I thought, how did you find me? She says, I listened to Shades of the Afterlife. So I thought, oh my gosh. See, I never know who's listening, but I'm so grateful that the words will make a difference.
A lot. Yes. It happens to me too. People will say, I found you on here, or I found you on there. And I didn't even know I was on here or there. So, we're all over the place at this point.
If you build it, they will come, right? Field of Dreams.
Yes. It's quite lovely. It really is. Synchronicities and little coincidences are not really coincidences at all, actually.
They aren't. Yeah, my dad used to say coincidences and synchronicities were God's way of remaining anonymous. I like that. Remaining anonymous.
Quite wonderful. Yes.
But life is good, Roberta. It is. And I know life has got the roller coaster. So you just stay buckled in, right? But I try to put things in perspective. I'm certainly not perfect. I go through my little temper tantrums. I mean, they're small, but I
cannot imagine.
I do. Sometimes I wake up on the wrong side of the bed too, but I have to use what I've learned, and I can get myself right. Like, for instance, I can say, all right, if I designed my life and I brought this situation to me, why would I have done that? What is there to learn, right? So whether it's true or not,
kind of thing that we do. Yes. We try to look at our lives objectively, and we say, now, how am I going to use this? How am I supposed to use this?
Yeah. It doesn't feel good to be in the victim mentality. And there certainly are people that are victims of horrendous things. I'm not discounting that, but it's easier to live in the driver's seat of my life and pretend that, what if I created it this way? What is there to learn? How can I change? And I think one of the easiest things to do, which is so often forgotten, is if we can just put a little gratitude in, take a deep breath, be in the present moment, look around, see the miracle of life.
There is so
what are we
much
grateful
that
for?
You and I have to be so grateful for.
You bet.
So many of these things that seem to have happened by happenstance are just gifts to us that we are can use to further this work. And that's why they were given to us. They're just to be used in this work. And I fully see them that way. I fully understand that's why. And it's such a joy. This work is such a joy to us.
I agree. And I think everyone has that, not necessarily a life purpose. I always thought life purpose was a specific job. And I've come to understand the life purpose is a way of being someone who's compassionate and generous and playful, whatever those may be. So to find those things that we do, those kind of things really serve other people. And I do believe that we all have a team of guides, inspirers working with us. There's a name of a book that was written years ago by a woman called Leo Russell, and it's God Will Work With You, but Not For You. And why that's important to me is because so often I think, oh, if only this would happen, if only this would happen. Well, good things happen once we take action in the direction of our dreams. I feel like if we follow something that we're inspired by, like this wind, this will fill our sails and help propel us to where it is we need to go. And if we only can slow down a little bit and be present, those answers will come. Think of those things that we're joyful for. So we have the tools, but I think as human beings, we live in such a fast-paced life. We're always checking our phone for messages, ding, ding. And so we lose track of that ability of our soul, but it's never too late to get there, ever. We're all on that journey.
No. Well, some people will say, oh, I'm 60, I'm 65, it's too late for me. And I say, oh no, you're just a baby in this work. You've got decades ahead in which you can, just give your life to God and say, here I am.
That's right. And there's actually an eternity to do it. I fully believe that.
Of course, but even in this body, there's so much more time ahead. There's just so much more time. Oh my. Oh, there's so much you can do. And it doesn't have to feel like work. I mean, you have an infinity ahead to just, Edison said my big secret is I've never worked a day in my life.
Oh, I dig Edison. I do.
I mean, think about it. Have you ever worked a day? No, this is all fun.
Well, even those days that I have worked, because when I think about it, I worked very, very hard in our catering company. It was 20-hour days.
Back then.
Yes, but the thing is to say, because of that.
When you did it, think about it.
Yeah, maybe. It was hard, Roberta. But because of it, I was able to fund everything I needed to do to publish the book. And so we can give gratitude for those things in our life that we might not care for, but they provide food for the table and whatever, so we can pursue our dreams. So I'm grateful for it all. I certainly am. I am. But it's nice to just cook for two people as opposed to 1,200.
But it's an ill will that blows nobody good. I mean, when COVID came along, that was suddenly a blessing in a way, because then all of this happened, and now look at all that you're doing and all that you're able to do with the time that it freed you to do all this work and this beautiful work you're doing now.
Thank you. Can I share with you a story that I just read on our Sunday gathering not too long ago? It was one of those aha moments for me. And your listeners and viewers, this will all make sense to them, but it's a story of a Mexican fisherman who works hard and wakes up very early, and he catches his catch and he sells it to the local merchants, and he has enough for himself and his family, and he'll come home and he'll have a siesta with his wife and play with the kids, and then he gets together and visits with his local men friends in the town, plays guitar and sings, and the next day another just like that. Well, this American businessman comes and he sees this operation and he says, oh, well, if you got 2 boats, how many fish could you catch? What if you got 3? What if you got a whole fleet? So he starts creating this big business, and that after a great amount of time, he could be selling just hundreds and hundreds of pounds of fish, and think of all the money you could make. And the fisherman says, well, how long would this take? Oh, 10, 20 years. And he says, you could be a millionaire. So he says, well, senor, with all this money, what then? He says, oh, well, then you could go to a small fishing village and you could get yourself a small fishing boat and cook and catch a few fish a day and feed your family and have time for your kids and to play guitar. So it was one of those messages where we already have sometimes what we think we want. And so for me, it was the message to slow down, be grateful, realize that I've already arrived.
Yes.
And like you said, the work I want to do and you want to do, to be joyful, to be of service to humanity. And I think anytime we make a difference for another human being, our life works out. We're inspired. We're passionate. Like I said, every single Sunday gathering, I leave just fueled for the next week. Now, before the Sunday gathering, I'm thinking, oh, geez, it's almost time to start. And do I have everything together? And am I going to inspire anybody today? Right? Because I'm human. But just to get into that flow and directing our sights on other people, it's like, oh, this is the best. So we'll have that Sunday gathering for eternity. We sure will. But just to slow down, to recognize what it is we do have, and we don't have to say yes to everybody for everything. And time's going by pretty quick in life, it seems like. So what is important? And to me, it's quality time with my mom, continuing the podcasts and our Sunday gathering and a few classes online. And I'll just continue.
Yes. I mean,
wherever it goes.
I realize how much I get to do. I mean, my podcast every week and my blog post every week. And I'm now teaching 2 different classes. I was going to teach more, but I'm going to figure out how to clone what I've got now and make it go viral without, I'm going to basically clone myself without having to keep teach any more classes. And all of this, and I interact with all these people online now. I'm teaching people all day long. It's such a joy. I do it all the time now. Sandra,
Wonderful.
there's no greater joy than this. Every single day. I'm talking to people, interacting with people, as you say. It's that little anticipation in the morning. Am I going to make a difference today? Every single day I get to do it now.
And the secret is just focus on other people. That is the secret. And I think our ego wants to not do that, wants to stay under the covers sometimes. And, oh, can I make a difference? Oh, is it good enough? All those things. But just to engage in other people. I used to feel that way a
lot more. But now every single day, I know why I was born. Because with every interaction like that, I know why I was born. And that's a beautiful feeling.
You're an inspiration, Roberta. I'm not quite there yet every day, but I'm doing the best I can.
No, but you believe me. You do know why. This is just what you do is glorious.
I laugh because when I worked the catering business at the racetrack, sometimes we were up 24, 40 hours straight, working so hard, really feeding a lot of people. And I had a lot that I was responsible for. So I just have this image that God or the friends in the spirit world said, we really need to transform the planet so that people remember who they really are, that we're souls having a human experience. The game of life, I think, was created to forget who we are so that we can really get our money's worth out of it. But something went wrong. And so these powers that be know that there's certain people on earth that are making a difference, you being one of them, of course, Craig as well, and others. And they said, look at this gal working at the racetrack. She's working so hard. She can do it. She can handle it. Let's give it to her, right? And so things unfolded as they did for me. And I went on that journey of looking for evidence of the afterlife out of great fear of death and collecting so many things. And then my dad passing, learning about grief, and then just sharing what I knew to help others. And then it's just taken on a life of its own. And it's so hard to believe like I'm here doing what I'm doing, but I wouldn't have done it any other way. And even things that have happened in the past, as relationships in my family still not healed. But I firmly believe that everybody has a part just the way they're supposed to. So there's a lot of forgiveness, and we just carry on and do the best that we can do. So I feel very lucky. I feel very fortunate. And I'm going to just squeeze everything out of this life, including time with my dear mom, and let her know how special she is. Because as human beings, we forget who we are. But all we need to do is ask some of our friends and family, and they'll remind us of who we really are.
Oh my goodness, but you are doing such a beautiful job. I mean,
Thank you.
every single week you are touching so many people with your message, with your gifts. It's just, and that's building so well. I think that's the best part of it. You'll see. I mean, for a long time, I didn't get the sense that I was touching very many lives, but now I hear from people all the time, and every single day. I mean, it's a perpetual high, really, to feel that, to feel
It's
back all the
true.
love from so many people.
It's
And
true.
that's just a wonderful thing. It's
It is.
just you to know why you were born, to know that that you're helping people. And it's such a gift that to know that you're helping people. If you help one person is all you really need to help. And I hear from that one person every single day. It's always someone else, but someone different, but I hear from them all the time.
And Roberta, I'm passionate now because I have so many podcasts. What can I do to keep it new, keep it fresh? People love near-death experience stories. I get that. I know that. So every so often I drop that in. But what I'm looking for are some different things. Like, for instance, there's a zillion mediums out there. And now that my show is really
Yes.
big, they're coming to me. And I say, got to have a money back guarantee and not charge a lot of money and well
I don't
trained.
even have mediums on.
No,
Because most mediums are C minus level
correct.
or thereabouts.
Correct.
They have some gifts. They're not, I'm not saying they're dishonest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying they're not very reliable, and the information they give is generic. And we have enough mediums in the world, or even too many. What I do is I number one, I do a lot about the meaning and message of Jesus because it's genuine. And I do a lot of messages about that. I also go back. I mean, I have podcasts now going back 11 years. So I have a lot of repeats, people that have really been liked. I bring them back and try to have a new message from each time.
I like that idea. I might
Yeah.
steal that. I have been looking for different ways people communicate with their loved ones, and certainly there's signs and things. But you introduced me to Maria Pay, whose poor sons were murdered by her ex-husband, and she does
She's
a
lovely. I haven't had her on in years, so I'm glad you are having her.
wonderful, but to do her kind of meditation that she does to be in touch with her sons. And then Dr. Matt McKay, I think also that I heard through you, I think. And he is a psychology professor, very, very smart. And his poor son was murdered. And he does the automatic or inspired writing to his son, and just feels this flow of his son speaking through him. And he says, I never believed in any of this stuff. So to have people who were skeptical in the beginning, and of course, Maria was a very successful attorney. She's now retired. But to have different voices come that are 100% sure of the relationship continues, and give their method of how to continue communicating. Not everyone's going to get a tape recorder and try electronic voice phenomena, or want to do what Sonia does, trying to get pictures of people in the afterlife. But we can all either type on our computer, or we can write with a pen and paper. And when we get ourselves into that frame of mind and set a little appointment with our loved ones, boy, some of the words that come out, whether they come from your soul or sometimes your loved ones, you really feel their presence. So I think
Yes.
again, the C minus mediums are out there, But what can each one of us do to know that it's not only if you come to a Sunday gathering and maybe your loved one comes through, or if you book appointment with a medium. No, your loved ones are part of your life. They're cheering you on. And we can slow down, and those thoughts and even feelings that come out of nowhere, that's them. That's their calling card saying, I'm right here. I'm right here with you. So for me, anyone who's listening to my shows will find I like a little new and different things that are going to keep me on my toes and quench that thirst and just discover new things. There's so many different reasons to believe, and I'm so grateful I get to be a messenger and then share them.
I think we're coming toward the end of our time, but when we get together this summer, we should talk about bouncing around some ideas, I think, because there are other people that I'd like to suggest to you too.
I would love that.
What do you want people to take away from our time together?
Just how unique you are. You're one of a kind. You're special. No one's ever walked in shoes like you have. And your voice matters. Your feelings matter. You're a divine being having a human experience. Miracles are possible. There's just a team of loved ones and guides in the invisible space around you. Just to take the time to slow down and trust. Try not to make yourself wrong. Try not to listen to that little voice too much. Instead, put in some gratitude. And when we can really be grateful for the world around us and the miracles of nature, boy, those synchronicities and coincidences start to happen. And it's pretty amazing. So I think that's what I'd like to leave with your audience today, Roberta.
Well, consider yourself hugged, darling. I think you're very, very special. And you're very much loved from this end. Just know that, my dear.
Thank you. You too. Ditto.
So everyone, please, this has been very special. Please understand that Sandra is a very, very special human being. She's someone that I think you should check out. I think, just check out our Sunday gathering. I think that's something that all of us should I keep thinking I'm going to get to go to it one time, and then on my Sundays are always so taken up, so it's always going to be next week. But Sandra is a very special human being, and meanwhile, this has been Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. I'm so happy you could be with us today for this very special little Seek Reality event. And never forget, my dears, you're a powerful, eternal being. You never began, you never will end. And when you get it, when you really get it, you never, ever will be the same person again. Your life will be changed for the better and forevermore. Next week, our guest will be N. Riley Haggerty, and he'll be with us for the 8th time. He should be here more often, but he kind of is hard to catch. Riley's been researching and documenting the great physical mediums of historic spiritualism for more than 30 years, and he's published a number of very good books. This one, I think, he tells me, is maybe his best, but he's said that before. He researches amazing psychic phenomena from the heyday of the great days of spiritualism, and the new book is called Etta Wright. She's a truly extraordinary physical medium, and he tells me, as I say, that this one is going to really knock our socks off. So please be sure to join us next week. And this week, our guest has been the great, the wonderful, the beautiful Sandra Champlain. She's been with us for the 17th time. She can't believe it either, but time goes by. Sandra is a great force for good in the world. She really is. She does so much to educate people about the afterlife and about what really is going on in the world. Her whole life is remarkable and beautiful, including the parts that you don't see. She's just a kind and loving and beautiful human being. And this new book called Love Mom, Inspiring Stories Celebrating Motherhood, I'll show it to you again, by Nicole Safier, MD, is already a New York Times bestseller. And I love their chapter. She and her mom, Marion, have a chapter together. So buy it for her chapter, if nothing else. Sandra Champlain and her Sunday gathering are really not to be missed. You should go. You should enjoy it, because it's sort of a mix between what you wish church had been, but you stopped going because it isn't that, What she does really is what you've been missing and wishing church still could be. But it also is kind of something special because of the mediums and because of all the love. So try it. All the great ways you can participate and learn from Sandra are still there. Your own life really is eternal, and she'll help you figure that out. Now, as you know, Craig Hogan is the president of Seek Reality Online. It's your one-stop resource for all things afterlife. Just go to seekreality.com and learn for yourself that your life really is eternal, whether you like it or not, so you may as well get used to it. Just go and learn from Craig, who is our dear, dear friend. And teachingsbyjesus.com is your single resource for all the beautiful divine truths that are brought to us in perfect love by the greatest teacher who ever lived. Now it really is his turn. We don't really have time to talk about my books, but that's right. That's okay, because you know what they are anyway. The Fun of Beating Jesus is the latest one, and that's kind of my favorite now. You can order all my books through bookstores on Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. And if you ever want to talk to me about anything at all, you can always go to the green contact block on RobertaGrimes.com. Just be sure when you leave me a message that you give me the correct email address, and I promise you will get a message back from me. All of the more than 500 past episodes of Seek Reality are available wherever audio podcasts can be found, and you can see the new video episodes each week on Roku, Fire Stick, YouTube, and elsewhere. Meanwhile, this has been Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Please enjoy and make the most of this coming week in our one reality together, always knowing that you are a powerful, eternal being, and most of all, you in this entire universe are the most infinitely and eternally and beautifully loved.
You've been listening to Seek Reality with Roberta Grimes. Roberta blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Join us every week as we explore what the afterlife evidence and modern science combine to tell us is true about the one reality we all share. Knowing the truth changes everything.